Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, I have discussed about that things with you, how can create some of the class-based component, right? And now that is our functional component and that is our class-based component. Like here, if you go to our index, into this index, I have loaded all that our component as an app component, as a test component, as a person component. So if you, that is one of the function, right? If you go to our test, into the test, you can see that is one of the function. So here I loaded this function. If you load this function for the multiple time, like here I take it as a 3 right now, or this function will be executed for the 3 time. If you go, like that is our test function. Now click as a refresh. Now you can see it's now loaded for the 3 time, as a, this is test file 1 2 and then there is a 3. So if you want to change that function, like here that is our one of the function, right? If you want to change that function, you can also change it. Okay, you can change it, like right now better I remove it. Okay, remove it, and then I want to I don't need this app CSS because here I have already removed it, so I simply remove it from here. So I want to create one of the array function. So if you want to create that array function, I have already discussed about that things with you. That is a late, and I just name it as the same as a test, right? So I name it as a test, and test here I want to create one of the array function. So that is our array function. If you want to create, I hope you already remembered that part. So that is our array function. So when that will be another function, here every function will be return some of the things, right? So here I simply returned it, and into the return area I want to load one of the div. Okay, I simply loaded one of the div, and I close this div, and into this div area here, if you want to display some of the data, like I name it as a h1. Okay, I name it as h1 as a this. Okay, this is new file. Okay, I name it as a this is new file. Now if you click as a save all, because from here I also export the default as a test, right? So that means our this function will be just like that same. Here everything will be work perfectly. I have already saved it, and if you go click as a refresh, now you can see our result is that just like that same. Only there is our CSS is missing. If you want to load this CSS, like that is one of the dev class, I copy it. And now I want to update it, and also here we have, if you use it, we have to import it, right? We have to import this CSS, but I copy it. I have already removed it. So that is the input and then app CSS. Now we are able to access this app, right? Now if you click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see into this, that is center position. Because of all, that is one of the class as a app class in our, it comes from our app CSS. So that is our src app CSS and class name as a app, and this app actually executed as a text aligned as a center. For the reasons you can see it's now into the center position. So in here, as I told you friend, that is one of the JSX code. Okay, that is one of the JSX code, that is not that HTML code. So if you want to add some of the functionality, you can add that functionality in here. Like I want to do, this is new file, and after that I want to load one of the function. Okay, that is a math. I have already discussed about that things with you. That is one of the math, and with this math there is also another method as a random method, right? It will be generated one of the random code. So now there is a math, and I simply loaded that random method. Now if you click as a save all, and now if you go, now click as a refresh, now you can see it's now generated some of the random number. Okay, so as I told you, that is not that HTML code, because so this React library help you to convert JSX code to the HTML code. So that is our HTML. Into the HTML actually we are not able to add any function. The same things I copied. If you go to that is a class-based component. Here if you want to load this as a math random code, that will be also executed. Click as a save all, and that is our class-based component part. Now click as a refresh, you can see it's now successfully generated. Okay friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. So now there is another most important things, like right now we don't need this. I simply load it, and I'll remove it, and also from here I remove it. Okay, so yes, that is, as I told you, that is on the JSX. Into the JSX you are able to execute it any function. And now I want to do into our index, into the index, that is our test, right? That is one of the functions. So in from the function, if you want to pass some of the argument, you can also pass it. Like I want to pass one of the argument value, and like I name it as a name, and for the name I pass one of the value as a Kazi. Okay, and also if you want to add that multiple one, I take another one, property as a age, and for the age I name that will be as a 30. Okay, and also better I copy it. I want to pass another argument here, another one. I name it as a Aryan, and also I want to take another one as a John, and then I make it as a, that will be as a 20, that will be as a 40. So that is one of the argument value. So now if you want to display this argument value, like if you click as a save all, now that should be not display. Refresh, you can see it's not totally clean. From our this position, that means from our this into this component area, I pass some of the argument value. Okay, so if you want to display this argument value into the test, so here you have to get all the data, right? You have to get all that your argument value. So if you want to get this argument value, you can get this argument value by the props. Okay, remember that part. So that will be needed. So that will be as a props, sorry, that will be only as a props. So now with these props, we can actually get all that our data. Okay, all that our argument value data will get. But I show you, if you check it with the console log, with the console and with the console log area, I want to pass these props. I simply pass it. Oh, why it's actually loaded with this? So that will be only props. So now if you want to check it, like here, I want to click as a save all, and now if you go to our page, click as a refresh. Now if you go to our inspect, and with the inspect, if you go to that console, into the console, you can see there is a 3 object data. There is another first object, there is another object, and also there is our another object. All that our object data is now in our which place is now in our these props area. So now if you want to visible it into the in our HTML here, if you want to visible it, like I want to do, I name it as a name. Okay, the name I want to do unto visible, a name I want to visible. So that is in our curly bracket, that is in our props. So that is in our props, and into this props area, our object argument name, I name it as a name, and also I make it as a and age. Okay, age will be the same with this props, and here our name as a age. Okay, I simply name it what? That is our object value, that is our argument as a name, and that is the age, right? I simply loaded both of this as a props name and then age. So now everything in our props, I have already checked it. Right now we don't need this. I close it. Now that should be displayed with this props data. Okay, so if you want to pass any data from one component to the another component, you have to get this data by these props. Remember that part. So that will be very important things. So with this we can actually get all the data, and now you can see we are visible. So these all the data value, we pass it from where? We pass it from our index, right? So that is our function, and that is our component name. I simply loaded that things in here. From here I pass all that our object property data, and now you can see we get this data with these props, and now I display it. Now if you want to click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's not perfect. It's not perfectly loaded that name as a Kazi, age as a 30 for one object data. There is another object data, and also there is our another object data. And also you can pass some of the child, but I show you. Child means if you go to our index, into the index I want to do, that is our test, right? So here I want to close this test. Okay, I close it, and like that our HTML tag as a test. Okay, test, test. So I simply close it in here. So that is our test is closed. Great. So in here, if you pass any new data, like this is new. Okay, I pass some of the new data. So what exactly that will be do if you want to check it? So that is also into the props. If you want to check it, that will be the console log. Into the console log, I want to display this props. Okay, props, I want to display this props. Now everything will be more clear. Click as a save all. Now if you go, click as a refresh, and now if you go, now you can see after that there is a name, age, and by default that is actually generated another name as a object name as a children, and into this children area I pass on of the string value as a this is new, right? So that is this is new. So by default it's now getted that another object property as a children property. So now our this data in our which place, this data into the children. So if you want to access it, we have to access it with the props and then the children. Then we'll get this information. Like here I want to do in our test, better I copy it and I take another one and just name it as a new data. Okay, new, I make it as a new data. Okay, new data will be with the same, with the props, and after that props then that will be as a children, right? So here if you go by default, that name, you can see the name as a children. I copy it, so that will be as a children. Now our this children data should be displayed. Now click as a save all. Now go there, click as a refresh, and now if you go, now you can see there is a new data, and into this new data area it's not display as a this is new. So how can get all the data, friend? I hope it is very much clear to you. And you can see only one. That means here I actually pass that as a new data, as a this is new, and rest of this is empty, because here I have passed only one data in here. So that is one of the children, and that is our all that object value, right? All that attribute here I pass it, and now it's successfully displayed in here. I hope, friend, you get some of the idea. Everything will be needed. Make that sure and you understand or remember these props, because props is very much a common one of the things when you create some of the project that will be needed multiple times. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.